I would like to hear from you your thinking about difference between solution-focused brief therapy style from Milwaukee, created by Steve, Insu, and their team,
Okay.
and simple therapy created in Bulgaria by
Yeah.
you and maybe by some more people.
Yeah. Boyan Strahilov and my colleagues. Yeah.
Yeah. Could you give explanation?
Well, to start with, I think that there is something very, very important, and Steve DeShazer insisted on this several times. I have heard him say that he firmly believed that solution-focused brief therapy, as practiced in Milwaukee at the Brief Family Therapy Center, is not, certainly not, the final state of the art in this field. He believed and he insisted that it is just one step on the road. So there will be other new, more steps that need to be done probably by us, by you, me, and many other people after them. Because, as I believe, time is our most limited resource. So, Insu and Steve and their colleagues also did what time allowed them to do. They were also in this time frame. And it is up to us to make new steps. So in a way, I think that simple therapy is a trial to do almost nothing in response to everything, as in this Zen koan, doing even less than what Insu and Steve did, and giving clients the possibility to do more. So it is based on a descriptive model, which is thinking, questioning, answering, doing, observing, and evaluating. This is what therapists and clients do in a session, actually do. And traditionally, before solution-focused brief therapy, the thinking was done by the therapist, the asking of questions, the real hidden answers were also given by the therapist. The client was supposed to do something, and by doing this, they were supposed to solve their problem. And then the observation was also done by the therapist, and the evaluation or reviewing, I think, was also the therapist's role. Now, Insu and Steve changed many of these activities. The thinking went to the client because all the solution-focused questions require a lot of thinking on the client side. Exceptions, it is very easy to say when things were their worst, but it is very difficult when they were at their best. You have to think about it. Scaling requires thinking, miracle question requires thinking. So the thinking part goes to the client. Don't think, just observe how the client thinks. I think this is this separation. When Steve says don't think, he says the client should think, not you. Then the answers are on the client side. We accept them at face value. Doing is again on their side. And then observing and evaluation is also on the client's side. So the obvious next step is the questioning, which is still done by the therapist. We can give a try. We can see if clients are capable of asking better questions than us. So all these activities go to the client besides observing. We have to observe how they think, how they ask questions, how they answer these questions, how they do, how they observe in their everyday life what is good for them, and how evaluate the whole process.
And what do you do with your observation?
Well, we try to give feedback to the client, what I have seen, what I have heard, to inform them. For example, last time I saw you in this and that situation. Now I see something different. or in the beginning of our conversation, this was different from what I see now. So I think that this observation needs to be fed back to clients and they to decide how to use it.
And is it feedback which is built just on the informations about facts? I saw you when you were doing that, or it's also combined with your understanding of it?
I think that everything, if I feel something, I need to tell it to the client. If I think something, yeah, maybe I want to check if my understanding of the situation is okay with the client. So I have to propose what my thinking is about it, not only the facts.
Uh-huh.
Everything that comes to my mind, I think, is very, very important.
So kind of basic difference between Milwaukee style and simple therapy style is shifting idea of creating questions to the client.
Not only questions. The more things they do, the better for therapy outcomes. I think that this rule, don't do for clients what they can do for themselves.
Uh-huh.
If they cannot do it, or if they refuse to do it. For example, we propose that they ask the questions, but they say, I don't know, which is an invitation for us to use our classical, traditional questions. But this is a personal offer. It
Uh-huh.
is not therapy as a whole. My job is to ask questions. When the client says, no, I don't know, it is your job, he personally invites the therapist to do his job.
Kind of
So,
authorization invitation. Yeah.
yes, so I think that everything clients do has a priority over anything that we do. And our second best choice is using our traditional solution focused tools. The first best choice being using the client's own ideas,
So
their questions, their answers, their tasks, whatever they propose.
and as I understand, it means that you don't stick and don't trust the model.
No, I trust it very much. Not a single word of the traditional solution focused approach is thrown out. Nothing. It is all
what I want to
used
what I want
when
to
the client tells us to use it.
okay, what I mean is that you don't trust the model in terms following kind of schema, kind of procedure. It's
No,
much
no.
more open to client suggestions and then
Yes.
adapting.
Yes.
So in that terms, yeah.
Yes. Years ago, I tried to follow the therapeutic model. Now I try to follow the clients.
Wow. Is it possible for you to show it? For example, on me,
Okay.
I can play kind of client, and you can just for a few minutes just show kind of specifics of simple
Okay.
therapy.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Are you ready, doctor? Oh, thank you. Okay. So let's start the game.
Okay. So, what brings you here today?
Doctor, it's too much for me. That that sadness and it's so heavy here and here, and voices are so strong. It's
Tough time for you.
oh yeah, it is. I just hope for a kind of relief from you.
Ah. So, my job is to ask questions, and they have to be as useful as possible in this case for you. So, what do you mostly hope to hear from me as a question right now? What do you think is the most useful question you can hear from me now?
No. Just to do something to help me feel better.
What do I have to do to feel a little bit better?
Yeah, I guess you need to you need to do some diagnosis and give me
Okay,
some clue.
okay.
I don't know, some medicine or no, I don't know.
Yeah, I shall try to do my best, but you say, what do I have to do? Maybe what do I have to do and what you have to do so that you feel a little bit better.
I will just follow your suggestions.
Okay,
You are doctor, so I sure you know.
okay. You have had these voices and these, you've been in this situation for quite some time now.
Yeah.
Was there in the past some suggestion that was very, very useful for you?
Drugs?
Medication.
Yeah, medication. Yeah,
Okay.
but I stopped. You know, it's hard to continue with medications and when you feel so bad. So I stopped.
Yeah.
And then I felt even worse.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what the medication might be. But is there something else that you could do to help yourself feel a little bit better?
You know, today I I feel so overwhelmed that it's hard to remind even morning. And yesterday and weeks and months before are somewhere, and it's so far that it's hard to think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
I wish to respond, but
Okay. You know what we can do? I shall write it down for you. What do you think we can do that you can feel a little bit better? And you think about it and come here tomorrow and let me know your answer.
and
Is this okay for you?
can I rely on you that you will do it also?
Of course.
Because you know, I for me you are a wise man, and I don't want to be alone to think about.
Okay. So we'll see each other tomorrow and we will discuss what you think and what I think we can do to help you feel a little bit better. Okay?
You know, I think I need answers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you also need some time to get these answers, and I need this time too.
And have you got any suggestion for me for now?
Yes, I think we can give you some medication that can not only help you feel a little less pressured, as you say, not to be so heavy for you, but also to help you think about the things we need to do to help you feel a little bit better. Okay?
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please prescribe. Yes, yes.
I shall give it right to you now.
In that part of our conversation, what would you say was specific for simple therapy?
One of the techniques that we use lately is this DAC, the delayed answers questioning. Uh, in Western, most of Western culture, people tend to give answers right away. The question is
Question
stated, and
answer.
then
Yeah,
the answer follows in a second or less than a
as
second.
almost a ready product.
Yes, very automatic response. And I think that one of the things in therapy, very important thing, is to help clients give non-automatic answers. Steve DeShazer used to say that if a client has told his story 17 times, be very careful that you are not the 18th person that he tells the same story. You have to be the first person that hears a different story.
Somehow different.
So,
Yeah.
somehow different. So, making it non automatic requires time, like conversations between Native American Indians. One can ask a question and the other can answer in a couple of days or a couple of weeks or whenever he is able to give a meaningful answer. And there was an accident that Steve told me many years ago to look for accidents on the Maldives with a guy from Sri Lanka and asked him a question in the morning about the best possible music Sri Lankan that I can buy in Colombo. And he took out a piece of paper, but he didn't write anything. So in the evening, I had almost forgotten my question. He gave me a list of 3 musical pieces that he thought I should buy in Colombo. So you can imagine if he gave me an answer right away, it would be the first 1 or 2 things that come to his mind. But after thinking about it for the whole day, I am pretty much sure that he had considered many, many more alternatives. And he came up with the really best music that he can think of.
So,
After thinking about probably 20, 30, we don't know how many. But giving people time to think is very important. And what we very often do, if we see that clients have a tough time in giving answers to our questions, we propose that we give them the question in a written form. Maybe the client can write it down for himself so it is readable and understandable for him. And let them use this time in the best possible way by thinking about the most useful answer or question or whatever it might be.
so postponing the answer and
Yes,
letting to
yes.
think. So we are coming to the end, Plamen. So
Okay.
what would you like? What kind of question would you like to hear from me by the end of this interview, which could be useful for you in
Uh,
presenting your thinking?
what do you think the next step in all these things? In both what we do here, you do in Poland. I think this is the important question. What's the next step?
So suppose
And
I just ask such a question to you.
okay, I think that all these ideas that you have, we here with Boyan have, need to be tested. They need to be seen in action in many different contexts. Because this simple therapy thing, I believe it could not be born anywhere else but the Balkans. because here there is a tradition for clients, and I mean all kinds of clients, not therapy clients, to go and tell the professional what he or she has to do.
Well, nice
There
competence.
is a, there is a funny sign on the wall of a car mechanic repairing workshop with a price list, which says car repairing costs 50 euros per hour. Car repairing under the client's guidance costs 80 euros.
That's a
and
difference.
and in a way, it is very easy for us here, therapists on the Balkan,
Yeah,
to just listen to what clients tell us because they say very openly, very clearly. You just need to hear it.
yeah.
And maybe in some other contexts, clients are much more reluctant. They do not wish to interfere with the therapist's job. Well, here, this is not the case. So let us see if these techniques, these tools work in Poland, Sweden, England, China, whatever. And also, a situational model. When you propose some concrete tools or ideas to be practiced, we can see then what works, what doesn't work, and in this way, we can have a development of the approach over time and also space. So the next step is to give these ideas a try, give them a chance to be seen if they're useful or not.
So, Plamen, let's imagine that this online conference audience want to check out one piece of simple therapy.
Okay?
What would be a task from you to them, to our audience, hello audience, to test in very context?
Well, the first tool is our opening question. My job is to ask questions, and they need to be as useful for you as possible. So, what do you think is the most useful question you can hear from me right now?